Hello, all. So, got a new story. I'm going to get right into it. Says right here, divorce lawyer urges women to stay away from men with these 5 narcissistic jobs. Now, the jobs are narcissistic? There's got to be a limit to a woman's ability to project. There's got to be. How are the jobs not narcissistic now? How is it the gender that believes that people should pay just to hang out with them? Go to dinner, people should just pay for their presence. That believe that they deserve princess treatment, being a regular ass person. The gender that thinks that them is all they need to bring to the table is themselves, somehow keep encountering narcissists. It's crazy. It just doesn't seem to make sense. Anyways, let's find out what these jobs are into. These goddamn jobs who believes that they're the center of the universe. They must be the most important jobs in the world. They're narcissists. CJ. I'll just go ahead and add my number 1 to the list. Pastor? A pastor? My God. 50% of all marriages in the United States either end in divorce or a separation. For whatever reason, the practice is becoming more and more common. What do you mean, whatever reason? People don't want to be together anymore. What are you talking about? What other reason is there? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. No, it's definitely a bad thing. It ruins families. Separating from someone is a huge step, and if you're honest, oh, it's a divorce attorney. Of course it's not. All right. Keeps her in business. I get it. Is a huge step, but honestly, thinking about cutting ties with a person and starting a new life, then it's probably because you really need to do so, as folks end up sacrificing a lot in the process. Exactly. They sacrifice a lot to divorce attorneys who make bank. And pretty much the reason people settle in divorce a lot of the times is because those divorce attorneys cost a lot of money. And at the end of the day, no matter how much money you win in the divorce, you're sharing that, a large portion of that, with your divorce attorney. It helps when you have an understanding partner who will help you throughout the process. You had an understanding partner who you married. That person ain't going to help you through divorce. But apparently, there are some vocations that make one lawyer on TikTok's job so difficult that she went as far as to recommend that folks stay away from marrying folks who follow these career paths. Any job that makes a divorce attorney's job difficult is a good job. That's a pretty good job. TikTok use at, you mean TikTok user at Jetty Girl 28? Doubt she's still 28. Says that she's a local divorce lawyer on her TikTok account, and she posts tons of legal advice on her channel, along with other cool tidbits and facts about the law. She titled a recent post, Top 5 Professions Women Should Avoid in a Spouse. Where's the narcissist part coming? In the clip, she records herself speaking into a camera and rattling off different jobs that left a bad taste in her mouth during divorce proceedings. Nah, I'm not watching it. She begins the video by stating, over the course of my career, I've watched my most difficult cases, and shockingly, many of them involve men in these 5 professions. If any of these guys are under 5'10", it's probably 100% worse. 100 times worse. What? Okay, girl, you said it, not me, and I agree. Why? Why are you shaming dudes just for being short? Like, that's just how people are born. That's just weird. Like, I understand not dating them, but that makes them a horrible person. What's wrong with you? She continued, what I notice among these 5 professions is that they tend to be more narcissistic. Huh. They tend to be more controlling. Huh. They tend to be far more difficult in dealing with a divorce. Who deals with a divorce easily? They have kind of a nuke the earth, scorch the earth, how dare you challenge me kind of approach to litigation. Yeah, trying to destroy their lives. As a flight attendant, I've never seen a pilot wear his wedding ring on a layover. What's your point? Guarantee you, she sleeps with pilots, especially the married ones. Jetty Girl says that this is a trend she noticed in her 13 years of being a lawyer. So what are the professions that people should avoid? Firefighters. Firefighters have a certain wage, got a good pension, got good benefits. Their wives, usually not high earners. So a firefighter, especially you get professions where that pays well and the men are usually in shape or attractive in some sort, they usually get wives that are not really, that are usually good looking, but not like highly employed, let's say. So usually in a divorce, they probably lose a lot, especially their house, their kids. And yeah, it could cost them a lot. So when it goes to divorce, they usually try to fight to death to keep whatever they can, because yeah, that can destroy their lives. Firefighters, military service members. As a veteran, I can tell you, you definitely don't want to get married while you're in the service. I made a point not to get married. Even though it went so far where a woman actually proposed to me because I was not getting married, and I definitely didn't marry her. Um, it's very bad because it incentivizes you to be married. You get a lot of benefits for being married. You get your own place. You get paid more, and you get a lot of other extra benefits for your family and stuff like that. So it incentivizes you to be married. And a lot of people get married young and they make rash decisions. And that divorce will take everything from you. So yeah, they'll fight to the death if they're for in the divorce proceedings. If you're like for a military service member, police officers, same things with firefighters and military guys. A lot of benefits. All right. So they get married. Surgeons make bank. They make a lot of money. They make a lot. Not only do they make a lot of money, that profession, by the time they start making money and they're paying off that college debt, they're pretty up there. They're like in their 30s, early 30s, maybe approaching 40. They start making some money. Those guys, especially any kind of medical field, doctors, that kind of stuff, surgeons, they get targeted. They get targeted by gold diggers and just regular women just looking to get married. They get targeted and they get taken advantage of, especially when they come to the divorce. Those women try to take as much as they can. So I can understand why they will fight. They'll make it difficult for divorce attorneys because they don't surrender. They don't just surrender. And pilots, yeah, pilots make good money, and they also targeted. They're definitely targeted by flight attendants, especially those flight attendants. But any woman would straight up, they'll go for pilots, they'll go for surgeons, they'll not so much police officers. The police officers, they tend to be assholes. I can understand that because they're dealing with criminals all day, and their style of leadership is tend to like showing strength and that kind of stuff. And you can get a little bit of that in service members as well. So they get a little bit of heavy handed. So I can understand it's not a very attractive occupation that women would go after because they tend to be a little bit more aggressive in their conflict resolution tactics, let's just say. And that's not a good way to handle a tense emotional situation with a woman. So not as attractive. But firefighters, yeah, firefighters, surgeons, pilots, like they're definitely targets. Like straight up, women target those professions, try to get those dudes, try to set their friends up. If they got a pilot, and pilots have other friends that are pilots, they set their friends up to get with other pilots. And yeah, it's one of those highly targeted professions right there. I'm an aspiring pilot dating an aspiring surgeon. I'll let you know how it goes. So none of you actually have the job. But yeah, in this, a pilot and a surgeon, the divorce should be fine. They're both making good money. Unless someone gets pregnant and they decide to quit their job, then they become a housewife, and then the divorce, they're going to be asking for a lot of money. So it becomes the same situation anyways. But if they're both working those professions, they divorce, they both got good money, they can amicably split, and they'll both be fine because they're both bringing income into the situation. So it's not one person robbing the other person just to survive and leaving both people pretty much in a shitty situation. It might work. You have similar personalities. No, it's not a personality. It's about income, because that's what you pretty much lose in divorce. It's income. It's about the money. That's primarily the part that makes the divorce hard, is the money aspect. And some of them, it might be hard because one person doesn't want the divorce to happen, and that might make it difficult, but that's rare. It's mostly the money and assets. In the comment section, many people agreed with her assessment. One commenter just wrote the word uniforms. Yeah, uniforms. Women are attracted to men in uniform. So they're prime targets. Those women are predators seeking out these men. It's not that the men are the problem. It's that the women are seeking out these men, and they're attracted to them because of the uniform situation. And because the attraction level is already so high, the personalities don't necessarily match as well, because they're not concentrated on those things. They're not concentrated on personalities and the way they work together, because they're so already attracted by the uniform and the job and the money. And they get into the relationship, and it turns out, oh, they don't work too well together. Now they were already obsessed with the benefits and the uniform and the money and all that stuff and the life that they dreamt of in their head, that they go all the way to marriage. And then they get to the marriage part, and that's when you have to work. That's when you have to work together. That's when you have to do things together. You have to start a family, all that stuff. And then they don't work together, and then they divorce. See, the problems isn't the jobs, it's the women. Not necessarily the women divorcing. Is mostly the women being attracted to the uniform and not thinking about the actual relationship and how those two people are going to work together. Because, I mean, the only reason I'm putting it on the women is because usually the women are the ones that want the marriages. And if the men want the marriages and they don't take the time to actually vet those women properly, then they're also at fault. But if this article is about women avoiding the men, and they're putting it on the men and their jobs, then the problem is obviously the women. Because that doesn't sound like someone that's actually assessing the situation for what it is. It sounds like someone that's putting blame on someone else. So the problem is obviously that person. Another TikToker by the name of Allison Belonzi wrote, the 5 Ps: police, paramedics, physicians, pilots, and firefighters. Athletes, they are especially bad once their sport career is over. Yeah, because they're home more and they get to know you more. And then you realize, oh, I just like the idea of being with this person, not actually being with that person. And then you divorce them. You see? Because you're so attracted to the occupation and the money more and the benefits more than the man. And then it becomes a problem when you actually have to deal with the man. Choose better. Instead of blaming other people and other things outside of yourself. Others had their own suggestions as to who people should look for in a prospective romantic partner. Construction workers. Ladies, get yourself a construction worker. Low maintenance, doesn't mind doing laundry, and builds the deck as a hobby. Construction workers get divorced just as well as anybody else. There were some who said engineers are the sweetest, something that Jetty 28 girl confirmed. Ladies, get yourself a construction worker, low maintenance, doesn't mind do laundry and build. I mean, if he's doing the construction working and he's doing laundry and he's doing all this stuff at home, what are you doing? It sounds like you just want a cushy life where you don't have to do anything. Which is not realistic, which is probably why your relationship ends, because eventually you're gonna have to do some work that you don't want to do. What did you say? Engineers, kind of nerdy professions. They don't really have a lot of options, and a lot of them are weird. Not appealing in the what do you call it, charm area. So they might not give you the butterflies that you want. You might end up cheating. Girl, if you're wondering what professions has the best men, engineers, they're always the sweetest. Yeah, they're always cucked. I've only had one engineer, and he was the sweetest sweetheart ever. And I got custody of our little girl for him. Of his little girl for him. Okay. So he was still divorced. Yeah. He was the sweetest. However, there are some commenters who thought that Jetty Girl 28 was missing what was quite possibly the most important profession everyone should avoid when marrying someone: a pastor. Yeah, pastors are, I'm not gonna lie, they're yeah. Especially they're working in the church. Most churchgoers, especially nowadays, are women. And they're in a position of leadership. They're leading these women, they're guiding these women. That's an attractive position to women. So they're going to get offers, or they're going to make offers, and most likely they're going to cheat. But of course, there are some other honorable mentions, like one TikToker who has an ex who thinks he's a god and he's a band teacher. Why does he think he's a god and he's only teaching band? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, if your ego doesn't match your, at least your position or whatever, it just doesn't make sense unless he's like joking. So people of authority, which is what women find attractive, men in authority positions. Correct. Sign the judge's wife. Okay, so she's a divorce attorney and her husband is a judge. Yeah, you're pretty much just saying women should avoid everything that they find attractive about a man. These women obviously don't want to be with men then. you want a man that can take charge, but if he takes charge, he's controlling. You want a man that's charming, but if he's charming, he might be egotistical because he's too confident and whatever. It's just, you want a man with a good job, but if he has a good job, then he controls your finances or some shit. He's financially abusive. Why don't you just be alone and stop ruining people's lives? If you have this many issues, just see a therapist and see someone that'll at least tell you that if you're having this much problems, just stay alone and stop ruining lives. As for who men should avoid, all Jetty Girl 28 said that they should steer clear of people who are stay-at-home moms, presumably because they're going to want to get anything and everything in a divorce. Yeah, they will. They will. But I mean, most women want to be stay-at-home moms. It's the most. I mean, you can't be mad at them for that. I mean, they want to be with their kids. If they have kids, they want to be with their kids instead of a job. And why would you want your wife to be stressed out at work, and then you come home and you're both stressed out, and then you both got to deal with the kids, and yeah, it's a catch-22, man. Divorce, it's gonna be terrible, but you can't be mad at a woman that wants to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, if you have a wife, you would want to provide that for her. You would want her to be able to stay at home and not have to worry about going to work and be with the kids. So yeah, it's a tricky situation. Just don't get married. I would say just don't get married. And then she wouldn't have that nice security blanket when she divorces you. So she would be incentivized to work things out rather than just ending the marriage. What do you think? Have you noticed trends in dating history of people who end up being a little nutso or difficult to deal with? Anyone you're divorcing should be difficult to deal with. I mean, it's not nutso if they're upset that you're divorcing them. That's just, anyways. Well, at the end of the day, it's not about the jobs. It's about the choices that people make. Some of it is the men, but a lot of it is the women. They're usually the one that file for divorce. Sorry. They're the ones that usually don't try to work things out. They're the ones that usually try to run away from a situation when it gets difficult. Sorry. It's just true. I mean, I don't want to blame women either, but it's the truth. So, till next time.